What's going on, everybody? I'm John J. II, and this is Gym Promotions. I'm here with the beeper. Tony, how we doing today, bro?
John J. Happy to be here. Beautiful. Best day of the year. It's officially spring. The birds are chirping. Beautiful day, and I'm having a good one. Let's get after it.
Let's get after it. Got a quick comment from Travis Kagi. Cheers from Jacksonville from Sager. I know Travi is down there with Sager in Jacksonville right now. Seeing all your snap stories, boys. Looks like you're having a hell of a time down there. Hope you guys are well. Thank you for tuning in. As everybody knows, hopefully by now, if you're tuned into the stream, we're doing a double dipper. We're doing a podcast / live stream. So thank you guys for tuning in. You're hearing it live. You're hearing a first take experience pretty much if you're tuned in with us right now. If not, you'll be hearing this later on once it gets posted as a podcast. It'll also be a video on our YouTube channel. It'll be on Facebook and Twitch. So thank you guys for tuning in. Let's get right into the thick of it. As everybody knows, we're right in the heat of March Madness now. Second round games kicked off today. Let's just kind of talk about the upsets. So there's been some major upsets. Chances are you didn't pick them because you have to be off your rocker to assume any of these games would hit for these upsets. And I tell everybody this. The upsets are going to happen. You just don't know where they're going to happen. You got to sniff them out and pick those games that you think are going to be upsets, and hopefully you're right. But a lot of times you don't sniff the upsets because they're the ones that you'd least expect to happen. So, Tone, let's get over some of these upsets and what ones surprised you the most.
So, John J., the wonderful people at Gym Pros, I'm mentally exhausted. I'm mentally absolutely drained right now with having to try and follow this year's tournament. I mean, it's up, it's down, it's left, it's right. I think I'm going up, the tournament's going down. I think I'm going right, the tournament's going left. I can't get a grip on it. I don't think I've picked a single game right this year in the tournament. I think the biggest upset to me, it obviously has to be Oral Roberts, which I thought that was a dentist school. Like, I thought that's where he went to go be a dentist. Beating the Ohio State University. And we had people in our gin pool that had Ohio State winning the entire thing. I didn't go that far with them. I think I had Sweet 16. But still, I think that is the biggest upset. Then you go down, and it looks like right now, is it final? Did West Virginia lose? 1 second to go, West Virginia is down by 3. It doesn't look good for those guys either. That's a big upset. Syracuse is playing. Listen, Jim Boeheim's got his team rolling right now. That's going to be a big upset. We could keep going on the list. North Texas beating Purdue. I didn't think that was going to happen. I had Purdue as one of my Sweet 16 teams, and North Texas decided to kick me in the shorts there. So. What about you, John? Listen, I'm not surprised that there's upsets. I guess I'm surprised at who has been upset, if that makes sense. A little surprised at who's been upset, not necessarily the upsets. There's a few that I picked, but obviously, nothing like what's been going on so far.
Yeah, so there's actually been more upsets than I initially anticipated. Obviously, another big one is Loyola Chicago beating Illinois. I know that one kind of burns a little bit for you.
John,
just to add insult to injury. You got the whole shot collar situation that burned you in the Big Ten.
And then
then you go and jump ship and be like, okay, now I have Illinois winning it all. And that kicks you in the shorts.
Listen, this Illinois team has kicked me in the shorts twice now. Okay, one, obviously, with the shot collar. Then two, they've been playing really good basketball, win a Big Ten championship. Their guard play's been great. They got that big 6'7" foot kid in the middle of the paint. I thought they were going to go win the whole thing. Then Sister Jean rolls up. Should she be in quarantine or something? Should she be locked up somewhere? She's 209 years old, for goodness sake. And she's out there roaming the streets of Indianapolis like she's not at high risk. So Sister Jean shows up to the tournament, and then as soon as I saw that, I knew it was donezo. I mean, it's an absolute wrap. If you see her roll up to the arena, okay, and you're getting ready to play Loyola Chicago, you might as well just go hit the showers early and hop on the bus and get an early start on your way home because you're not winning that basketball game. I mean, my goodness, she's an absolute wizard out there. But yeah, and listen, hats off to Loyola Chicago. They're a fun team to watch. They were fun a couple years ago when they made the Final Four run. So I think they're kind of the team who I'm at least rooting for right now, who I want to see win. But yeah, you're right. That's another huge upset.
Yeah, it really is. You got a couple other ones out there. I had Wisconsin going pretty far, and they lost to Baylor today. That was kind of, a pick that I wanted to see, maybe a second, third round upset that I wanted to see happen. That didn't. I didn't see Baylor to be a postseason March Madness-esque team, and they proved me wrong. So that is what it is. Keggy again with the post, or with the comment. I'll let you address that one, Tone.
I mean, look, guys, it's healthy. It just, I can't seem to make it look bad. Is the weird part of the whole thing. It's a part of me now. Listen, I roam the streets of Flushing. I roam the streets of, Ortonville where I work. I roam the streets of East Lansing, and people think I'm Tom Selleck. They stop me, try to get a picture of me, and they're like, oh, no, that's just the beep. So, Keggy, thanks for the support, man. I think we're going to have some gin shirts made up of a silhouette with a stash on it. That actually might be a good, T-shirt idea, but thanks for the support, brother.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What are some other upsets? There's got to be more out there.
Oh, I mean, let's dive a little bit deeper into this whole thing. Let me get this pulled up. Did you say you need Texas Tech to win?
I do need Texas Tech to win.
Okay. Second half just
their second half, yeah, they're down 3 right now to Arkansas. I feel good about that game. That's another, 6 versus 3 seed that I think could definitely hit. Texas Tech has been a strong team throughout most of the season, and I'm pulling for them. But I'm getting my bracket in line right now. Texas is out. Did you know that?
Texas lost?
Texas is out. They lost to Maryland. Or no, they lost to Abilene Christian.
I mean, okay. I mean, what?
Lost by 1 point. That's another upset right there for you.
At this point, I mean, I don't even know. I mean, there's so many red X's on this bracket that it looks like one of my high school English papers. I mean, this thing, that's it. Three out of my 4 Final Four teams are gone. That's it. They're done. Gonzaga, you better win the whole gosh darn thing now. I mean, what are we doing?
So I actually had Loyola Chicago beating Illinois in my bracket.
Jeez.
So I sniffed that one out. I'm in 12th place right now. After the first round, I was in first. I still have a max points of 147, so I'm feeling pretty good still. But there's a lot more games to play, and the pivotal games are only yet to come. So I'm excited for the future of the tournament. And it's going to all happen quick. It's going to all be rapid fire. It's going to kind of cool down going into the Sweet 16, Elite 8. Less games, obviously. You'll be able to follow them a little bit better. Hopefully less upsets, but they're definitely I think they're going to be there well through the Elite 8. They're going to be there. North Texas making a run. Loyola Chicago, like we mentioned, making a run. Oral Roberts beating Ohio State. That's going to be that one's people are gonna feel the effects of that one for a long time. But a lot of games left.
I cannot believe. I'm just absolutely beside myself right now.
Petty, I don't know if I agree with you there, brother.
What did Petty say? What did
Arkansas,
he say?
Baby.
Well, look, Petty, I have them. I mean, for what it's worth at this point, I mean, which is not a whole lot. I had where did I have Arkansas? I don't even know where the hell I had Arkansas. I think I had them in my Elite 8 is what I think I had them in. Yeah, I had them in the Elite 8. So, I could get I don't know. John, I'm at an absolute loss. I guess go Loyola Chicago. Go Sister Jean at this point. I'm pulling for them. Hopefully it's them and Gonzaga in the final game. But I guess so obviously you have 3 out of the 4 Final Four teams, and obviously you want one of those teams to win it or at least get there. But who are you pulling for? Like outside of the bracket alone, like who are you sitting down saying, man, I hope this team advances? Is it one of those teams, or is there kind of a favorite team that you have right now that you're kind of jumping on the bandwagon and kind of hoping they perform deeper in the tournament?
I mean, Syracuse and Jim Boeheim just won. They've proved to be a very strong team in the postseason in the past. I'm pulling for Syracuse. They might burn me if they actually do pull it off and go the distance. But yeah, I'm pulling for Jim Boeheim in the orange, just because I haven't seen them really make a run in March Madness that much in the recent past.
Right.
But I think that they have that potential, especially to come out and shock everybody. Coming into the tournament and winning round 1 and round 2, just kind of going in there and coming out strong. I think they can make a run.
Yeah, no, that's listen, they're a fun team. Okay. They obviously they Jim Boeheim is a big 2-3 zone guy, 3-2 zone. He likes to mix it up a little bit. And be aggressive with that. So, they're fun to watch. Obviously Jim Boeheim, he won 1 national championship with Melo when he was there. I guess since in the last probably 4 or 5 years, they haven't really done much. But it'd be nice to see them get back, obviously. It'd be nice to see them, kind of, reestablish that blue blood program that they used to be. And I guess if you get burned by him at that point, you get burned by him. But I'm telling you, this sister Jean phenomenon is unbelievable. I got a gin and tonic that's going to be released tomorrow. Don't be surprised if I just gave you a little hint at what the topic might be. But man, listen, and we got another. We have a Spartan connection with Drew Valentine on the coaching staff. Denzel Valentine's older brother, an Oakland University alum. So there's some Michigan ties there. So yeah, I think I'm a rambler. I'm a rambling man.
I think you almost have to be. I mean, once you get your heart broken twice by Illinois, you kind of almost gotta just jump ship and go back to the original position of basically hating Illinois and wanting the team that beat them to pretty much win out.
So, really quick, I mean, we have to address the elephant in the room. Do we talk about the Spartans, John? Do we even mention them?
Yeah, we'll talk about them. We'll talk about them right now. I do want to mention the shot collar has been ordered.
Oh no!
So I don't know. I haven't got a date on the arrival yet, but there will be a lot to come as far as that's concerned.
Can I at least be the one that hits the button?
I don't think we're gonna do that.
Oh boy.
So actually, we actually didn't order a shot collar because we found it to be. And I talked to some members of the Corona franchise of events about this, and they told me that a shot collar ergonomically is not the most ideal tool or instrument for this type of procedure. So we wound up going with a TENS unit, which is essentially a muscle stimulator. You have electrodes that you
come on.
And you can control the strength with a little dial. And we figured that to be the best instrument.
Is that the like when you see the TikToks of them trying to like drink a beer with it on?
Yeah, it's the one they do it. They actually do exactly what we're gonna do to you on. They did it on Jackass, where they took it, they attached it to their nutsack. So they even had one that was like it almost looked like a tampon, but they put it on their taint, and just shocked the hell out of people. And it was entertaining. So I'm very excited.
Oh, so am I, man. I can't wait. On the edge of my seat.
So let's talk about MSU and UCLA. Absolute mess of a game. MSU, I think, what were they up? 13, 14?
Yeah, they were 14. Yep.
So I actually asked Minerik this question while we were watching the game. I was like, what's the harder thing for Michigan State to do? Is it to get a lead or is it to hold a lead? He said it was harder for them to get a lead. I immediately disagreed with him. I was like, listen, I think it's harder for them to keep a lead. And that proved to be the case in this game. You couldn't keep the lead. You couldn't keep the hammer down. And that's something that Loyola Chicago did a hell of a job of today. They kept that, pretty close to a 10-point lead the entire game, especially late in the second half. And you got to make your free throws. You got to make your layups, got to make your, mid-range field goals. They made those shots and they played defense when they had to. And they held the lead. You have to hold the lead. You can't let that team creep back and go on, a 12-0 run, because that'll put them right back in the game, if not ahead. And that's exactly what happened with the UCLA game. And also, they botched it right at the end, sending them to overtime. Absolute terrible shot by Aaron Henry.
I mean, what was he doing?
What was he? I don't even know what that drive was. It was almost like an attempted floater, but it just wasn't. It wasn't going to drop. Nobody thought it was going to drop. You might as well just send them to overtime. Actually, might as well before even regulation time ended, just send Michigan State to the locker room and start the party for UCLA, because I could tell. I think there was 10 minutes left in the second half. I'm like, State's not going to win this game. I've seen this so many times before. I've seen it with Purdue in the regular season, even Rutgers.
I guess
I've
Indiana.
seen it so many times. Indiana. It's the writing is on the wall. It's been on the wall, and when you see it again, you can almost predict what's going to happen. So I really wasn't surprised.
I don't know who was in our Gin pool bracket group. There's a lot of East Lansing guys that I don't know who are
There's
in it.
There's tons of guys in that.
But somebody sent a text, and it was the most the truthful way to explain Michigan State basketball this year. There is no identity. This is a team full of role players. I don't know who said it, but whoever said that was the most accurate way to describe this team. And listen, Aaron Henry's a role guy. He's an absolute role player. He's not good enough to take a team and will them to victory. He's just flat out not. There's no Cassius Winston on this team. There's no Tillman on this team. Langford is absolutely embarrassing out there. I mean, he looks like he should be playing in a 40 and over men's league. And I don't even think he should be doing that. I mean, this is the most when they got up by 14, the sad part is, John, and I'm sure you were thinking this in your head, they're not going to win this game. They're not. There's nothing that Michigan State can do to win this game. And then there's the whole controversy,
And we lost Tony. I don't know. I think he's having some internet issues, but basically on the same note, as far as MSU is concerned, they don't have it figured out. They need to have it figured out going into the next season, because it's absolutely imperative that they find, one, a point guard, and two, players that are going to be able to complement the point guard, because complementing the point guard is almost as important as having a point guard. Didn't have it this year. As Tony was saying, Langford was an absolute joke. I think that he'll be struggling even to find a draft pick or even find free agency in the NBA. He might have to go overseas like Kenny Goins did to play beyond his MSU career. But we'll see what happens with him. I don't really see many players leaving MSU and going to the next level, at least right away. They just didn't prove enough to me. Nobody stood out, even individually, for me to be impressed. So it's going to be interesting to see how they kind of transform the team, because this essentially was a rebuilding year. And if you can imagine rebuilding a house, say it just got hit by a cannonball in World War II, you got to rebuild that house. Except the only thing is, nobody has materials, nobody has the tools, nobody has anything. And the rebuilding process essentially is kaput. It's non-existent. It's non-existent.
Okay,
so
I'm getting really tired of this happening. I don't know who's doing this to me. I don't know who it is. I like to think I know who it is.
It's Big Tech.
Listen, Dan Dockich, you bum. Get over yourself. There's a reason why nobody picked you up to commentate any of the tournament games, you bum. But anyways, I'm not going to waste my time on him, okay? As I was saying, Dan, then there was a controversy at the end of the game, John. Or not end of the game, but I think it was going into halftime with Gabe Brown and Izzo pulling the jersey, and the media loses their mind. The media is so quick to not blame Gabe Brown for not playing any defense, for not doing anything on the court. No, they want to blame Tom Izzo, his head coach, the guy who's talking to him, and Gabe Brown just walks away from him. Gabe Brown's lucky Tom Izzo didn't deck him. He's lucky he didn't knock him right across the nose. And it's Tom Izzo's fault. Grow up, Gabe Brown. Gabe Brown, I hope you enter the transfer portal, and I hope you end up at Lakeland Community College, because that's where you should be playing basketball. You're not good. You don't play defense. You don't rebound, and you hit about 1 out of every 15 three-pointers. That's awesome. But, yeah, go ahead and blame Izzo. Blame Tom Izzo for that. Yeah, absolutely his fault.
You know, I was really disappointed with is Kenny Smith. He was commentating that game. I was watching that whole game. And he's like, you know, that's Izzo's fault. He should not be going in on a player like that. And Charles Barkley chimed in. He's like, that's nothing. That's a coach doing his job.
Right.
And just the softness of Kenny Smith absolutely amazed me. And I'm really not a big fan of his ever since, you know, when the NBA players were protesting the game and didn't show up. He showed up to the studio. He's like, he literally sat down. And he's like, listen, I got to show out for the players tonight. I don't think I can do this broadcast. Stands up, takes his headset off, walks out. And Shaq and Chuck were all standing right there.
Like, why even show up at that point? Like,
I couldn't believe it. Why even show up? Why even show your face on TV?
Right.
And if I'm a producer, I'm not letting him back. To see him get his position back as an analyst, as a commentator, absolutely blew my mind. And I think it's a mess, dude. I am not a big fan of him.
You know, and you're right. You know, Kenny Smith was in defense of Gabe Brown, which I don't think you can defend Gabe Brown at all in this. Izzo was harping on him about getting back and playing defense, and Gabe Brown wasn't doing any of that.
That was his man that made that three right before halftime.
Right, and that's what's so.
That's the game. That's the game essentially right there.
Exactly,
it went to overtime. That could have been the game.
Exactly, and if Gabe and you want to know what it boils down to, John, this is honest to goodness what it just boils down to is Gabe Brown doesn't care. Gabe Brown doesn't care enough to get back in transition defense and prevent a last-second three going into half. He just doesn't care enough, because if he did, the Michigan State teams in the past, they cared. You would have seen Tillman booking his ass down there and getting a big block. You would have seen Devontae Davis. I mean, you would have seen all those guys getting back because they know how important every possession is in the tournament. Gabe Brown, listen, I hope he transfers. I hope half of this roster transfers, because these guys just don't get it. They don't understand what it's like to put on a Michigan State basketball jersey. They don't get what it's like to the opportunity they have in that scenario, and then to just piss it away in overtime. And Aaron, I can't. I mean, the whole thing's a mess. I'm glad they lost so I can finally enjoy a tournament without having to worry about Michigan State winning or losing. And to me, John, I'm with you. Now I'm with you. 22 straight. The 23rd doesn't even fucking count. Doesn't even count. Not even counting it.
I mean, it's almost, we're almost wasting our breath talking about it, because this team very easily could have not made it to the tournament. Probably shouldn't have made it to the tournament. You know, given their performance in the Big Ten, especially. But just to point out the Gabe Brown situation again, Malik Hall was jumping on his ass, and then the argument is that Gabe Brown was getting double teamed after he got his ass chewed out by Malik Hall. Then Izzo comes in, but regardless of any of that, how Gabe Brown responded to Izzo in that moment, in that heated moment, you have to be man enough, you have to be professional enough in your craft to be able to be like, okay, I'm getting my ass chewed out. I have to eat this right now because I'm on national television. There's people watching this that I have no idea are watching this. And they're giving the media and analysts and commentators and people all over the place, they're giving them gold because it's an easy target. Happened last year with was it last year with Aaron Henry, or was it 2 years ago? I think it was March.
I think it was last year.
Was it last year?
No, it was 2 years ago. It was 2 years ago.
It was 2 years ago. Yeah, because it was and everyone raised hell about it. And then what I really love to see is Scott Van Pelt came on late at night like he always does, and he had a really good video, a really good speech about Tom Izzo, about the Michigan State program, about where it's came from, about what it's rooted in, all these things. And it was really good to see him kind of defend that and lay down the law for why, this happened and why this really isn't a big deal.
No, it's not. And listen, for Gabe Brown to so Izzo's chewing him again. I know we don't want to spend too much time on this, but Izzo's chewing him out this and that, and then Gabe Brown just turns and tries to run in the locker room. Like, what are you doing? I mean, listen, Izzo's got to go in that same locker room, dude. So it's either bite your bullet right there in that moment and be coached, or just run away. To me, the whole thing looks bad. I don't think Gabe Brown's coming back. I hope he doesn't come back, and I'm glad that. And then for Good Morning America, Tuan Izzo, and the whole thing's just a mess, man. But I wasn't necessarily heartbroken that Michigan State lost that game.
After that happened, I really wasn't either. And I think it'd be the best for both the program and Gabe Brown to part ways with Michigan State, because that just doesn't align with the pillars that are rooted in Michigan State basketball and have been rooted in their program for over 2 decades. So hopefully that happens. And I wish the Spartans all the best. Hopefully Izzo and everybody can bounce back from this. But something that I said earlier when you lost connection is this year was a rebuild year. But I feel like they completely botched the rebuild, and they're almost transferring the rebuild year to next year. So we really can't expect anything solid out of MSU until at least 2 years from now. How do you feel about that? Or do you think that we did any rebuilding this year, or do you think we just wasted it?
I don't know. Here's the thing. I've been very critical, okay, of the team this year. You have guys like Jack Hoiberg out there who has no business being out there, okay? He has no business even stepping foot, on the court with those guys. You play guys like that, and Hogard obviously is not the answer at point guard, okay? Rocket Watts, his confidence this year was absolutely shot right in the foot. He could not string together a good game to save his life. Our bigs, Bingham and Malik Hall. Bingham has some, I guess, maybe he has some potential. Joey Hauser wasn't this big time, transfer that we thought it was. Going into next year, we have some bigger name recruits coming in, but I don't think. How do I want to say this? I don't think the guys that are on the roster right now are even remotely ready to win anything significant for Michigan State moving forward. I don't think they understand how to play basketball for Michigan State, because you have to play a certain style of basketball. You have to move the ball quick in transition. You have to play defense, and you have to rebound the basketball. These kids don't do any of that. They don't do any of it. They don't do anything. So I don't think these kids are ready to win for Michigan State. So I think you're right. Going into next year, I'm not going to be super excited for basketball next year, just because I haven't seen enough out of the group that are coming back this year.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that we're going to need to see a lot more, both in the offseason and going into preseason next year, just to kind of see that rebuilding phase really commence. Mama Bank with a comment. Good point, JB. 2 years ago, Aaron Henry had to take some heat too and handled it nicely. Yeah, Aaron Henry was a class act. That's what made everybody want to jump on Aaron Henry's side, but also Izzo's side. There's no it's nobody against anybody. It's one team, regardless if you're personnel or a player, you're on the same team. So it's a team effort. And nothing is personal with Izzo. No. Even if he takes a personal jab at you, it is all for the love of the game, for the love of the competition itself, and for the love of Michigan State basketball. That's it. Period. End of story. If you think it's anything more than that, then you're delusional, and you got to collect yourself and kind of, bring your thoughts tight to the vest where they belong, and just kind of reevaluate the situation, because you got to think about what's really going on here. We're trying to build a franchise. We're trying to build a program that's a Final Four program consistently. And if you don't see that vision, then you're out in left field.
So there have been a lot of people that, and I have said it personally, I think Tom Izzo's voice might be getting a little old in Michigan State. Players might be, starting to tune it out, things like that. Do you think Tom Izzo's years are numbered? Do you think, this is the start of maybe the not decline, but the start of riding off into the sunset for old Tommy Izzo?
I don't think he's ready yet. If somehow a scandal popped up out of the ether, I think that would be the end of him for sure. I think he's going to give it at least another run, if not 2 more runs, see how those go, and that'll really determine the next 5 to 10 years for Izzo. But he has the years left in him.
For sure.
To coach. He has probably a solid 10 years left, honestly. If he keeps himself healthy, if he starts winning some games, he puts some players together, he has those years. He has some time left, but I think he really wants a championship before he, kind of hangs the cleats up.
Right. I think you nailed it. I think he's chasing that second championship. He has been so close to winning 2, maybe even 3 more. Just hasn't quite had the fire to get it done. So I think he's at least chasing 1. He's at least got to get 1 more under his belt. And I think he's good enough to do it. I really do. I just think there has been such a shift in college basketball on how it's played, on what you need as a player to succeed. Like, look at Michigan. Michigan's got a 7-footer in this freshman, Hunter Dickinson, who can step back, hit a 3, and can dominate down low. You need a big that can stretch the floor in college basketball. And instead, Tom Izzo recruited this Matty Suzuki, whatever, Yamaha, whatever the kid's last name is. Tom Izzo recruits that kid, and he's a back to the basket player. He's not a stretch the floor 5, and that's what you need. So I think Izzo has to realign his recruiting to start to make the transition to succeed in today's college basketball.
100%, I agree. Moving on, Tom, I'll let you kind of go over some of the updates we have regarding Gen Pros and regarding all of our events coming up. What do you got for the people? And then I'll recap.
A lot of stuff on our platter. Okay, it's like Thanksgiving Day, and the table is just absolutely covered in food. You don't know where you're gonna sit. You don't know where your plate's gonna go, but you got to figure it out. Got a lot of stuff planned. We have the Corona Challenge that is coming up in June. Registration is closing in a month. I think less than a month now, right, Johnny? I think less than a month registration is closing.
So we're cutting it off. We're doing it a specific way. If you're watching the stream right now, you're watching it later, it will be posted tomorrow. We are cutting off all registrations for the Corona Challenge on April 15th.
Yep.
Those registrations may or may not reopen at some point, but we want to get all the teams in and paid for so we can plan everything out. 1, with the course, 2, with all the personnel at the course, so we can figure out, tables, and if we want to do a raffle or anything like that, we can figure all that stuff out. We want to have rough numbers of who's playing in it, partners, teams, pairings even. And if we can get all that figured out, we'll be on our way. So April 15th, mark it down in your calendar, mark it down in your notepad, put it on a sticky note, put it on your monitor. April 15th is your day. Your window is closing.
Absolutely.
It is less than a month away. So get yourself registered, and that'll get us in order to, 1, prepare for the rest of the Corona Challenge before we kind of have it and we get into really the thick of it going into, the rest of April, May, and then June. And then that'll allow us to focus more on the International Federation of Beer Die Grand Tournament, which is happening on April 17th. So there's a lot going on. That'll be a crazy week because we have to, wrap up registration for the Corona Challenge and also figure out schematics and everything going into the Beer Die tournament. So it's going to be a busy week come, April, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So it's going to be a very busy week, but that's your window right there. Mark it down. If you're watching it now, great. If you're not, hopefully you watch it later on, you get that information.
Absolutely. So obviously, we're pumped about those 2 events. We've kind of, put all of our eggs in those 2 baskets as of right now. Another update, obviously, Reversal, Gin Gaming. He's been absolutely lighting it up. Binkers will drop our link trees down there, so you can go ahead and find him on our link tree. The dude's absolutely lights out. Go ahead and watch him. I might start getting tips and tricks from him because I'm the absolute worst Call of Duty player of all time. So we are looking at taking on and signing some new Gin Gaming athletes. We're in the process of evaluating one right now. So we're super excited about growing that aspect of gin already. Then obviously, Gin and Tonic, you have one from yours truly coming to you tomorrow, Tuesday. Today's Sunday. On Tuesday, mine will be dropping. I think I hinted at a little bit at what mine's going to be. Not going to give too much away, though. And then, obviously, guys, live streams, podcasts. I mean, keep doing what you're doing. Keep hitting that share button. Keep getting us out to as many people as possible. We absolutely love the support. We can't thank you guys enough.
Exactly. Very well said. Just to touch on Gin Gaming a little bit more, we're looking to build our streamer base. So if you have any interest at all, if you know anyone that's a streamer, let us know and we'll get in touch with them as soon as we can, because we're trying to build that streamer base. We were looking for probably 2 more solid and consistent streamers to add to the Gin Gaming outlet of Gin Pros. So we're really excited about that. We're really happy with, what Reversal's been able to do. Smitty has been giving us exceptional gameplay. And, we're looking to, build on that. So if you have anybody in mind, let us know. And we'll get in touch with them and figure something out when we can possibly do a signing or, whatever. Nothing's set in stone until it's actually set in stone. So we'll check them out and we'll evaluate it on a situational basis. But that's all I got. Tony, you got anything left?
Thank you guys for tuning in, who are watching right now, who are going to watch in the future, who watched earlier. Thank you guys. Remember, moderation's for cowards, and always bet with Gin.
Well said. Well said. Everybody have a great rest of your weekend. I'm John J. II. Have a great